know that a Taylor Swift Jukebox musical is happening at some point, so I'm just ahead of the curve. Hey Olivia, it's Wednesday. So backstory behind this video. I woke up today knowing I needed to film something, but no ideas. I was thinking, okay, Olivia's video last week was all about musicals. What if I'd been listening to this week 1989 Taylor's version? Bring them together, this monstrosity. Jukebox musicals are kind of controversial. I think it is an inherently flawed genre of musical because it is beholden to a story that was written for a different format. I think it's fun though to put it together. So that's what we're doing today. Here are my qualifications for why I should be doing this. Number one, I was a theater kid growing up. I spent a lot of time doing musicals. I spent a lot of time listening and thinking about musicals. So I think I have a sense of generally a musical format is. Number two, I have been in the process of writing a jukebox musical for about 3 years now. Have I gotten any farther than an outline and a track list? No. Does that still count as writing? Sure. If anyone wants to hear about my Tallahassee jukebox musical, please ask me. I will make a video about it. It's such a niche that no one cares. Number three, I existed in 2014 when 1989 originally came out. I had a lot of friends who listened to Taylor Swift. I wasn't a Swiftie at that point in my life, but I existed, and so I heard all the hits on the radio. I've been a fairly big fan of Taylor Swift since COVID, since Evermore and Folklore came out, and everyone suddenly was a fan of Taylor Swift again. I know I'm basic, and you know what? She's great. Taylor Swift's music is great. And listening to 1989, the original, in the lead up to the re-release, I've really appreciated the album. It is just a really, really solid pop album. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of 1989. I think that should be a qualification. Whether that actually makes me qualified to make a 1989 Taylor's version jukebox musical, I don't know. We're just having fun here today. I wanted to come in blind and kind of go through this process together. I don't know if this is gonna make for good content. We're just gonna see. So I think what's gonna make this process easiest is to initially try and break out the songs into Act 1 and Act 2, try and create like a musical arc. I don't know how much into story I'm gonna get. We're mostly just focusing on the order of the songs. This is already a mess. So the majority of the thought I've put into this so far today is the opening number, and I think it's kind of obvious to me, it's gotta be Welcome to New York. Like, that's what everybody's gonna be expecting. It opened her 1989 tour, and I think story-wise that means that it's gonna start out with a character moving to New York. So what I'm gonna do now is try and separate these songs into like 3 camps, and I think that will help me kind of figure out the order of this. And the 3 camps are gonna be beginning of relationship or mid-relationship songs, ending of relationship songs, and then other. Act 1 will probably be beginning of the relationship, Act 2 will probably be ending the relationship. That just makes the most sense to me. Blank Space feels like a relationship is good song, which I know, objectively it's not a healthy relationship, but this feels like a beginning of the relationship. All you have to do with Stay is definitely end a relationship song though. Out of the Woods is definitely mid-relationship. I have a feeling this might end up being the Act 1 finale, just because, I don't know, it's got a lot of big emotions. Style, mid-relationship. Is It Over Now? Obviously ending a relationship. Suburban Legends, You Don't Knock Anymore, and I Always Knew That My Life Would Be Ruined. That's end of relationship. Now That We Don't Talk, obviously, end of relationship. Say Don't Go, end of relationship, but this feels like the immediacy of the ending of the relationship, where some of these feel like a reflection back on the relationship. I think part of the lore of 1989 is a relationship ends, and then the person comes back and it starts up again maybe, and then it ends again. You have songs like This Love, you have All You Had to Do Was Stay, that kind of point to that. But initially I'm putting Stay Don't Go up here. Idea. Stay Don't Go and All You Had to Do Was Stay. Feels like 2 sides of the same coin, right? Slut, solidly in mid-relationship camp. Neuromantics is solidly in the other category. I have a feeling this might end up being the finale. It feels like cheating because that's the album order, but Taylor really chose the perfect song. You're in Love also feels like a towards the end of the musical song, but also it is kind of solidly in the you're in a relationship camp. So I don't know, we're gonna figure out how to navigate that. Wonderland is another one that's kind of like initially after a relationship ending thing. Clean, obviously far down here. I Know Places, definitely early relationship. This Love, another one in the like ending and then coming back category. Now I'm starting to think I need another category, and that is songs that can't be sung about the main pairing because it would screw up the storyline. And I think You Were in Love and How You Get the Girl are both fall into these categories, and it kind of makes sense within the text of the album because Taylor Swift is talking about perceiving another relationship, especially You're in Love. And I feel like How You Get the Girl also falls into that. So I'm gonna put these in the other category. They might get moved out of it, we'll see. Wildest Dreams, solidly in the mid-relationship. Bad Blood also going up here. It could be about the relationship. I wish she would come back. Another one about returning. And finally, Shake It Off. Another one in the other category. So this is it. This is our track list that we're working with. This could feasibly be a musical. Les Mis probably has more songs than this. I think we can make this work. I've done some organizing off camera. This probably makes no sense, but it makes sense to me, and here's where I'm at. So starting out, Welcome to New York. That's staying as our opener. Here we have songs that I call like beginning of the relationship songs. So I think we start out with Blank Space, Nice to Meet You, Where You Been? I Know Places also feels very like early relationship. I Know Where We Can Go, like first couple dates. How You Get the Girl, I have an idea for this. I'm thinking it's like the one person playfully singing to the other person like, oh, this is what you need to do to get the girl. It gets a little more tender. It gets into Slut, which ironically, a very tender song. There are feelings that are starting to develop. This started out as just like a fun way to pass the time. Like maybe this is worth all the external pressure that I'm getting from this relationship. Wildest Dreams, also a very tender song. Here's the problem that I'm encountering. 1989 doesn't really have a breakup song. I think for this storyline to work is we need a point where the relationship initially breaks, because then we can get into like, all you had to do was stay, I wish you would, wanting this person to come back, and then when they do come back, the relationship breaks again, obviously. There's not really a breakup song, which is ironic because at this time, that's what Taylor Swift was being called out on. It's like, oh, you write all these breakup songs, which is incorrect. We need to figure out a solution to that problem, and I'm still working that through. Down here we have like Wonderland, Suburban Legends, like other stuff that feels to me like mid-relationship kind of vibes. Out of the Woods, I think still gonna work as the Act 1 closer. Then over here, I think I was onto something with the All You Had to Do Was Stay and Say Don't Go being two sides of the same coin. I think maybe this could be a last 5 years situation where we get these from two different people. Maybe we could mash this up somehow. I don't know. I'm not a musical director. Yeah, I Wish You Would, again, another one wanting the person to come back. I don't know why I put Shake It Off here. Shake It Off needs to be in the second act to get people back into it. I think another song where the relationship is on the outs, now that we don't talk, and then the person comes back with style, I think. This Love, another one, like kind of more a tender reflection. And then I have kind of an idea for the ending arc. Is It Over Now? It feels like a closure song, but it almost feels like an anti-closure song. Just waiting for the closure to come. That kind of marks the ending of the relationship officially. You Are in Love. I think the main character is witnessing, maybe this is a side character, in a healthy relationship, being like, oh, actually, maybe this is what healthy love looks like, and that finally leads to clean. That leads to finally the closure of this relationship. And then we have New Romantics because it's fun. Oh, also Bad Blood needs to be in there somewhere. I haven't figured that out quite yet. Maybe that's the breakup song. Now we need to figure out some sort of coherent arc. Clearly what's kind of shaping up, we have two characters. We have a character who's just moved to New York City, and then we have their love interest who they meet. Someone a little bit more playful, maybe a little bit more naive in relationship settings. And then we have someone like Blank Space, I Know Places, who has kind of a bad reputation. I don't know, so what's coming next either way? Wildest Dreams also thematically feels like it should come after Slut, or at least sonically it does. I don't know, that just makes sense in my brain. This is kind of where I think the first challenge in the relationship comes out. And it makes them both realize like, oh, this is probably not something that's gonna last. Suburban Legends feels like a song that's kind of reflecting on this ideal of a relationship, but there's something inherently like false about it and something like inherently flawed. So actually maybe Suburban Legends comes after Slut, and it's them kind of grappling. We do kind of have two inherently different personalities, and so maybe like this won't live up to the ideal, but you know, maybe it's still worth it and you'll remember me in your wildest dreams. I'm gonna start marking down which is from which point of view. All right, so Act 1 is kind of shaping up. Act 2 is kind of still a mess though. I have an idea. You know, the Act 2 opener song, it's always kind of be the one that doesn't really fit. It's got to get people back into it. So I think maybe Shake It Off needs to be the Act 2 opener. Maybe like it's the ensemble telling character A to like shake off this relationship. And then obviously they don't listen. I feel like maybe this is the breakup song. Like you made a really deep cut. Now we've got Bad Blood. That feels like immediate. That feels more immediate than a lot of other these songs. So maybe actually this needs to come over here in Act 1. So they encounter kind of the initial challenges of their relationship, but they're still kind of in this bubble. And then something happens and then they've got Bad Blood. And then Out of the Woods, like them making up. Maybe this needs to come later actually, because it's gonna be the climactic moment. It needs to come in Act 2, but it'd be such a banger as an Act 1 finale. So maybe Style is the Act 1 closer. Do we want to end Act 1 on a high note or a low note? That's the question. I'm taking this very seriously. We are designing the definitive 1989 Taylor's version jukebox musical after all. This is something I should be taking seriously. I feel solid about this. The Wonderland, I think, is what's throwing me off. I think that maybe this needs to come later because this feels more like a reflection song than an immediate breakup song. Maybe this is a confrontation, actually. I don't think it can end with Style. Maybe we switch these? Maybe Bad Blood is the Act 1 closer? Yeah, I think actually that makes most sense plot-wise. I think I need to switch Suburban Legends and Wildest Dreams because this feels like more innocence and this feels like more experience, and you want to move from innocence to experience. So Slut being like, oh, there's problems in this, but maybe it's worth it. Wildest Dreams, okay, I don't think this is gonna last forever. At least like it'll be great in the moment. And then Suburban Legends is more like, oh, this is actually gonna leave a mark. Like this is gonna hurt. Style, oh no, but it's worth it. And like if we were actually doing this, like we need to cut songs that are too repetitive, but I'm just trying to put everything in one. I really like this pairing actually because it shows the fundamental misunderstanding in this relationship. This person is saying, I would stay forever if you just asked me to. And then this person being like, all you had to do was stay, but then like they didn't ask them. Both of them feel like abandonment issues to me. I think I want character A to leave character B actually, so we're gonna change that. I Wish You Would feels repetitive to this. So maybe I Wish You Would and Now That We Don't Talk actually are also two sides of the same coin. So that means this is character B and this is character A. Yeah, and then they do come back. So this Love Happens, and that's a duet. And this feels like a, very anti-closure song. Yeah, Out of the Woods, you're back in the relationship, but you're also like, oh, is this still happening? I think we get Out of the Woods. This is kind of climax of the relationship. And then Wonderland is when it all falls apart again. And then we go into the ending. Okay. I think we've got a somewhat coherent structure, so let me walk through it and make sure it all makes sense. Act 1, welcome to New York. Character A arrives in New York, wide-eyed, ready to make their dreams come true and fall in love. They meet character B, who's like, hey, nice to meet you. I can show you incredible things. How you get the girl. Character A is kind of playing back. They have agency in this, hell yeah. But it also is kind of coming from that like kind of more innocent perspective. I know places, let me show you around New York City. We're gonna have a fun time, but it's gonna be a little bit dangerous because I'm kind of bad. Slut, both of them kind of reflecting on their reputations and what it means to be dating this other person, but you know, it might be worth it. It might be fun. Wildest Dreams, yeah, this probably isn't a good idea. It's probably not gonna last, but you know, I hope you remember me in your wildest dreams. Suburban Legends, kind of character A reflecting on where they came from. Would this person have fit into the life that they had escaped from? Kind of maybe reflecting on that, reflecting on how they've changed both by living in a new city but also being with this new person. Style, but hey, you know, we never go out of style. We look really great together. It all seems great until it isn't. In Bad Blood, everything comes crashing down. That propels us into Act 2. Characters A's friends sit them down and are like, hey, you need to shake it off. That kind of like poppy encouragement doesn't really work because they're still hung up on this relationship. They're thinking about all the ways it went wrong. Actually, we're moving stuff. Now that we don't talk, kind of looking back at the relationship, they're talking to other people, but they still feel mourning for this other person. And then we go into kind of reflecting on how the relationship ended. So all you had to do was stay and say don't go. They still want to come back to one another. And I think they do come back in I Wish You Would, where character A returns to character B. This love being like, oh, this love is good, this love is bad, it's back alive, it's kind of dreamy, but it's not all it cracks up to be. We go into Out of the Woods, that's kind of the climax. They try and make this relationship work, it doesn't really work for either of them. Wonderland, You and I got lost in it. This relationship is not fixable. We need to separate. Is it over now? Still being like, I'm hung up on this relationship, just want closure, kind of searching for that. You were in love, character A witnessing an actual healthy relationship and being like, oh, actually what I had was not healthy. And then they're finally clean. They've finally felt closure from this. And new romantics. Heartbreak is a national anthem. I could do a more deep dive into this. I could flesh out characters, give kind of more of a plot synopsis. If you're interested in that, I can make another video. However, this is what I've got for right now. I think I would need to go off camera and do a lot more thinking, and that's not gonna be interesting for this video, so that's what you're getting. I think a lot about Taylor Swift lyrics and also musical structures, and this is what comes of it. I hope you enjoyed Olivia. I'll see you on Wednesday.